Hi Silvana, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you.
I love Corielle. She is so incredible. The first time I saw you,
I remember.
I was like mesmerized.
I was wearing a unitard.
You were wearing a unitard. You just like have this amazing energy, and I admire you so much because you put yourself out there in a way that a lot of people are scared of, and that's like my goal. Like that's like freedom. I'm working on that myself. I mean, the whole Tulle skirts, I have to work really hard for that because, it causes attention.
Well, you rock it really well.
Tell me about you.
Well, I wasn't an entrepreneur until a couple of years ago, and I met a young woman from India who shifted my worldview in the way that you just described, in fact. She pointed out to me that as an American woman, I am free to do whatever I want. And it so woke me up to really how spoiled we are, or how much potential we have to make a difference in the world, depending on how you use your power.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use my power for good, and I wanted to do something that I really, I'm free to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So I want to do something that actually matters to me. So I started Lift Up Lift, which at first was an online marketplace where the idea was you could easily shop from women-owned businesses. So even though I didn't successfully launch this massive marketplace that I wanted to, I was able to build a huge community of women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that in itself became something real and impactful, and by connecting women who wanted to help each other together, and to do so internationally, created huge ripples that uplifted the women who were involved, and then also uplifted their entire community. The other company I started is all about preventing sexual violence, which is huge right now. It is called Lift Up Lift Worldwide, but our focus, our program that we offer is called Break the Silence. And that's because I think that is the single most important thing that every single person, no matter how they've been affected by sexual violence, what we can do is talk about it.
Yeah.
And get rid of the shame, and get rid of the stigma or the silence or whatever has kept so many survivors quiet for so long and enabled so many perpetrators to continue doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we break the silence. So through our nonprofit, which is called Lift Up Lift Worldwide, we do training programs, which we call Break the Silence trainings.
Yeah.
And they focus on helping every single person. What we can all do to recognize warning signs of sexual violence and then do something. So it sounds so simple. If you see something, say something. But so many people don't know the basics, what to do. They don't even know what to look for. So sexual violence is a cultural problem, and through our trainings we try to change the culture very proactively, just by educating people and making them feel like they're part of something important. So the thing that makes the biggest impact on me is when somebody realizes that they have been harassed or assaulted, or they're able to put that context onto their experience, and all of a sudden things that had happened to them that they might have blamed themselves for take on a whole new spin. All of a sudden they understand that they were a victim of somebody doing something wrong.
I uploaded a video about that, and I was telling you earlier.
Right.
I didn't want to call it harassment because it wasn't sexual. It was very emotional. It was harming my job. It was my performance, and I cry in the office. I'll go home and I don't know what to do, and I just thought I had to be tough. I don't want to be a victim. I'm strong. I didn't know what to call. I didn't know what to do. So I totally understand your training, how important this is.
None of us are ever really, even I, who am extraordinarily well trained to tackle this subject, have a hard time every time I need to intervene, which is actually fairly often, as you might imagine. Once you know what to look for, the scope of this problem suddenly becomes apparent. So there are two types of things to look out for. If you suspect that somebody that you know or love might be going through an experience of abuse or assault, then looking for changes in their personality in general, especially sudden depression or mood swings, or people who stop showing up for work just abruptly with no other explanation, can be a very clear sign of harassment in the workplace. The same is true if one colleague is just avoiding the other inexplicably. The thing that we tell people is to trust your gut, because we all know when something doesn't feel right.
Yes.
We just do.
Just do.
And there's so many different ways you can intervene.
So how?
Talk to the potential victim.
Yeah.
And try, make them aware of whatever it is that you've observed. And that's one of my favorites because they're always grateful. There is very low risk that you're going to offend someone by trying to help them. And other ways are direct or versus indirect. You can directly confront a perpetrator. Like, I do this sometimes when I hear street harassment. I'll just say, like, not okay. Just say whatever you're thinking. It's not about reciting some line. No. It's about just speaking your truth. Yeah. You have to take away the thrill of getting away with it.
Yes.
Yes. Pretty simple, but makes a huge, huge difference. And to everybody else, because if you heard this, then so did anybody standing in earshot.
Exactly.
But it's not an issue that just affects women. And unfortunately, it's so much harder for men to talk about it when it does happen to them. So there are organizations that specifically exist to help male survivors of assault, because it is such a unique experience, or different from a female survivor's experience culturally. A lot of men who experience assault or abuse do so, or it happens to them as children. Usually there's a period of time where you have to grasp the concept of having been assaulted or abused and what that is and what it means. It's tough. It's just extra difficult for men, and that's why there are special resources that exist for male survivors. But I think there could be more. And there could definitely be more attention and focus paid on the stories of male survivors. To reach out to us, you can go to info@liftuplift.org. Email us at that address. We also have a contact form on our website.
Okay. I'll put everything on our description.
And there are many other places where you can go and find resources. RAINN, RAINN, is the Rape and Incest National Network, and they're the single greatest, especially online, repository of resources.
Yeah.
For survivors and anybody else trying to help. So you can check out RAINN as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Amazing. Thank you for asking me about this.
No, I love it. I really wanted to, share with more people what you're doing, because it is incredible. It is, I can't even imagine going through all of that, and you're amazing.
The reason that we call our organization Lift Uplift Worldwide is that this has to be a global phenomenon.
It has to.
We can't leave the rest of the world behind when we make this change.
Yes.
This is on all of us.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That was so fabulous.
Yeah. I guess I can eat this cardboard if things get really desperate. I'm sorry if my hands were...
I'm Italian too.
I realized it after, immediately after we restarted. I was like, yay!
Cat callers.
You're so good.
Oh, cat callers are cowards.
Yes, they are.
Oh my god. Bye.